Hey guys, and how about we talk some of the characters from Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS, because some of the characters weighed a little bit heavily on my mind, and otherwise I just kind of want to clarify some of my feelings about some of the new characters, particularly 3 of them. Now don't start hating me yet, hear me out first, because I want to, again, clarify my thoughts, explain some of my feelings, and then we'll just kind of reach a sort of understanding with each other, right? Like, let's hope for that. So the 3 characters in question are Dr. Mario, Lucina, and Dark Pit. I want to start off by saying that I am fine with having both Lucina and Dark Pit in the game. My biggest issue is Dr. Mario, and I want to talk about why. First off, Dr. Mario is actually Mario. It even says on the Smash Wiki, Dr. Mario is simply Mario garbed in a doctor's uniform. That's all he is, he's just Mario dressed up as a doctor, which apparently was one of his past professions, again according to the wiki. I didn't know that, but it's still just Mario. As far as I could tell, all of Dr. Mario's moves are the exact same as Mario's, aside from his B down, where Dr. Mario does the spin from like the original, while Mario still has FLUDD. Maybe they have stat differences too, I don't know, I didn't really take the time to measure percentages or whatever, but that's what I noticed when playing as them. Beyond that, even their final smashes are the same. Dr. Mario's looks different, he sends out 2 giant pills instead of 2 giant fireballs, but they do the same thing. And like, I'm not a big stickler on having the same final smash. I was fine with Falco and Wolf having the same as Fox in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, but this, just on top of everything else, just makes it bad. Now to touch on Fox and Falco, I was fine with Falco clear back when he was introduced in Melee. Like, sure, they had very similar movesets, but they did have some big differences. You could tell that Falco could jump higher, you could tell that, he kicked his barrier out instead of just holding it around himself, or maybe that was in later games, but he did it at one point, so he was different from Fox, but very similar. I can totally concede to that. Why I was fine with it ultimately was because I knew that they were different characters. I knew that it wasn't just a reskin of Fox or something like that. I knew that Falco was his own character in the Star Fox games. And so this is why I'm ultimately okay with Lucina and Marth too, because they have the same moveset. Lucina's B down and Marth's B down are both counters. Their B ups are both that upward sword thingy. Their B overs are that series of little sword play stuff that's actually really rather cool. Their A smashes are the same, and even their final smashes are the same. They launch themselves across the stage into the opponent and send their opponent flying off the screen. But I'm okay with that, because you can actually tell that Marth and Lucina are separate people. Beyond that, they do have some differences that I've been told of. I know that Marth's sword is like most powerful at the tip, whereas Lucina's is, average throughout. I don't know if they have other stat differences than that, but again, the main thing for me is that even if they have the same moveset, even if they have the same final smash, they're different characters, and I can respect that. Now before I move on to Dark Pit, I want to touch really quick on Samus versus Zero Suit and Zelda and Sheik, because they're their own characters now. I'm also fine with this, because even though they're the same people, their movesets are dramatically different. You would not confuse Zelda's moveset with Sheik's or Zero Suit's with Samus's. They're just completely different. They're the same people, but they look drastically different, not drastically, dramatically different, and they act dramatically different, so I'm fine with it. Now I did have some big problems with Dark Pit when he first appeared in the Challenger Approaching. Why? Because he looked just like a costume that Pit had in Brawl. He looked just like a reskin. His moves looked all the same, except they were colored differently. I don't know again if the stats are different, but he looked just like a clone, and I actually mean that. Turns out, he really is a clone of Pit. Apparently in the game Kid Icarus Uprising, something to do with a mirror, Dark Pit became the imperfect clone of Pit. But the issue with that is that unless you've played that game, it really just looks like a reskin. Like, the moves are all the same, their final smashes are very different, I can totally give it that. Pit's is angelic, and Dark Pit's is more like Zelda's and Sheik's from Brawl, with the sniper thing. But aside from that, it just looks like a costume change. If you haven't played the game, and I can vouch for this, because I've never played the game, and my 3 brothers haven't played the game, and they all had the same issue as me, you don't know that it's a different character. It just seems like they recolored him for some reason. Now that I know that Dark Pit is his own character, I'm fine with him. Before, I was not. It was just another Dr. Mario to me. Just like, oh, this is Pit when he was angsty, kind of like Spider-Man 3. But now it's alright, just for the people who haven't played the game, Kid Icarus Uprising, I totally understand. I totally feel where you're coming from. I have no idea if the stats are different for the two characters, if the attacks actually do different things, if they function differently. I know their final smashes are the same, and I know that they look pretty darn similar. So if you haven't played it and you're angry that they're in the game, I understand. I'm fine with it now because I realize that they're two separate characters. So that's basically all it takes to make me happy about characters in Smash Bros. They either have to be different characters, even if they have the same moveset, you have to be able to tell that they're different characters, or they could be the same character as long as it's a completely different moveset. Like, what I would much rather instead of Dr. Mario is have a Paper Mario. Wouldn't that be cool? It's still Mario, but you could have his like different not his smashes, his Bs be like his different party members, you know? His B down is a counter where you get one of the ghost companions. His B over, he shoots out one of the turtle companion's shells, you know? His B up, he gets either Yoshi or that male Paracoopa and they fly him a little bit. I think that that would be a lot better. His A smashers could be hammers and stuff. It would be awesome! Not just Dr. Mario! Though if I'm to be perfectly honest, I would rather play as Dr. Mario than Mario because I don't like Flood. The spinny attack is so much cooler. Now, even though I'm fine with these characters being in the game, aside from Dr. Mario, I think that it could actually work if you did kind of put them in the same little box and just have the other characters be, you know, reached through different costumes. You know, have Dark Pit be in the same square as Pit and just have it be an alternate costume. I think that that would work just fine. I don't know how much they can really manipulate the stats within those boxes, and that's where I would, you know, be concerned. That's where I would say, okay, it can't work after all. But to me, it'd be fine if Marth and Lucina were in the same thing. Because if you look at Olimar and Alf, they are in the same little box. Sure, their movesets are the same. I don't think there is actually a difference between them, but look at this.
The winner is Olimar. The winner is Alf.
Depending on who you're playing as when you win, the announcer will actually announce that person's name. He'll either say Olimar or Alf. It's really cool. And then if you play as different colored Yoshis, you actually get to see their color on the dots on the shells. So they obviously can change their moves in order to, you know, like better represent whatever costume you're playing as. So those are just some colors on Yoshi, but then you have the two Robins. There's the male Robin and the female Robin. I'm pretty sure you had to use actually completely different models in order to make that work. So I'm pretty sure you could use different models if you wanted to actually change up the characters. I don't know if they could manipulate the stats like that, but if they could, I think that could be worthwhile. Then it wouldn't be like a disappointment if you unlock one of those characters and you don't know what game they're from. It would save people like me a lot of pain and a lot of humiliation when they go online, complain about it, and then are told what's what. So those are my thoughts. Tell me what you think in the comments. Tell me if you agree with me, if you disagree with me, if you have other points that could reinforce my own points, let me know what you think. So with all that, thanks for watching! I hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, of course, feel free to like, comment, and if you're new, even subscribe. It means a lot, it really helps me out, and I would love to have you guys. So, tune in next time for the next video. Until then, take care. Cue outro, go!